Okay, 154. It is torture to watch Mr. O'Neill peel the apple every day, to see the length of it, red or green, and if you're up near him, to catch the freshness of it in your nose. If you're the good boy for that day and you answer the question, he gives it to you, and he lets you eat it there at your desk so you can eat it in peace with no one to bother you the way they would if you took it into the yard. Then they'd torment you. Give me a piece, and you'd be lucky to have an inch left for yourself. There are days when the questions are too hard and he torments us by dropping the apple peel in the wastebasket. So this individual, who is supposed to love children and teach them, stands in front of the classroom of these children who are starving, peels an apple, dangles it in front of them, and if they don't answer a question properly, he throws it out in front of them. How cruel is that? And to eat in front of students, no matter what, is wrong. It's wrong. It's always bothered me because some of my colleagues do it too, and it just really bothers me. I don't think you should eat in front of students. Then he borrows a boy from another class to take the wastebasket down to the furnace to burn papers and apple peel, or he'll leave it for the charwoman, Nellie Ahern, to take it away in her big canvas sack. We'd like to ask Nellie to keep the peel for us before the rats get it, but she's weary from cleaning the whole school by herself, and she snaps at us. I have other things to be doing with me life besides watching a scabby bunch rooting around for that skin of an apple. Go away. He peels the apple slowly. He looks round the room with a little smile. He teases us. Do you think, boys, I should give this to the pigeons on the windowsill? We say, no, sir, pigeons don't eat apples. Paddy Cloissy calls out, 'Twill give them the run, sir, and we'll have it on our heads abroad in the yard. Cloissy, you're an Omadon. Do you know what an Omadon is? I don't, sir. It's the Irish, Cloissy, your native tongue, Cloissy. An Omadon is a fool, Cloissy. You are an Omadon. What is he, boys? An Omadon, sir. Cloissy says, that's what Mr. O'Day called me, sir. A didger an Omadon. He pauses in his peeling to ask us questions about everything in the world, and the boy with the best answer wins. Hands up, he says, who is the President of the United States of America? Every hand in the class goes up, and we're all disgusted when he asks a question that any Omadon would know. We call out, Roosevelt. Then he says, you, Mulcahy, who stood at the foot of the cross when our Lord was sacrificed? Mulcahy is slow. The 12 apostles, sir. Mulcahy, what is the Irish word for fool? Omadon, sir. And what are you, Mulcahy? An Omadon, sir. Fintan Slattery raises his hand. I know who stood at the foot of the cross, sir. Okay, Fintan Slattery is the weirdest kid you will meet in this book. He is just an unusual little dude. Of course Fintan knows who stood at the foot of the cross. Why wouldn't he? He's always running off to mass with his mother, who's known for her holiness. She's so holy, her husband ran off to Canada to cut down trees, glad to be gone and never heard from again. She and Fintan say the rosary every night on their knees in the kitchen and read all kinds of religious magazines, The Little Messenger of the Sacred Heart, The Lantern, The Far East, as well as every little book printed by the Catholic Truth Society. They go to Mass and Communion, rain or shine, every Saturday. They confess to the Jesuits, who are known for their interest in intelligent sins, not the usual sins you hear from people in the lanes, who are known for getting drunk and sometimes eating meat on Fridays before it goes bad and cursing on top of it. Fenton and his mother live on Catherine Street, and Mrs. Slattery's neighbours call her Mrs. Offer It Up, because no matter what happens, a broken leg, a spilled cup of tea, a disappeared husband, she says, well now, I'll offer that up and I'll have no end of indulgences to get me into heaven. Fenton is just as bad. If you push him in the schoolyard or call him names, he'll smile and tell you he'll pray for you, and he'll offer it up for his soul and yours. The boys in Leamy's don't want Fintan to pray for them, and they threaten to give him a good fong in the arse if they catch him praying for them. He says he wants to be a saint when he grows up, which is ridiculous because you can't be a saint till you're dead. He says our grandchildren will be praying to his picture. One big boy says my grandchildren will piss on your picture, and Fintan just smiles. His sister ran away to England when she was 17, and everyone knows he wears her blouse at home and curls his hair with her hot iron tongs every Saturday night so that he'll look gorgeous for Mass on Sunday. If he meets you going to Mass, he'll say, isn't my hair gorgeous, Frankie? He loves that word, gorgeous, and no other boy will ever use it. Of course he knows who stood at the foot of the cross. He probably knows what they were wearing and what they have for breakfast. And now he's telling Dottie O'Neill it was the three Marys. Dottie says, come up here, Fintan, and take your reward. He takes his time going to the platform, and we can't believe our eyes when he takes out a pocket knife to cut the apple peel into little bits so that he can eat them one by one and not be stuffing the whole thing in his mouth like the rest of us when we win. He raises his hand. Sir, I'd like to give some of my apple away. The apple, Fintan? No, indeed. You do not have the apple, Fintan. You have the peel, the mere skin. You have not, nor will you ever achieve heights so dizzy that you will be feasting on the apple itself. Not my apple, Fintan. Now, did I hear you say you want to give away your reward? You did, sir. I'd like to give 3 pieces to Quigley, Clossy and McCourt. Why, Fintan? They're my friends, sir. The boys around the room are sneering and nudging each other, and I feel ashamed because they'll say I curl my hair and I'll be tormented in the schoolyard. And why does he think I'm his friend? If they say I wear my sister's blouse, there's no use telling them I don't have a sister because they'll say, you'd wear it if you had a sister. There's no use saying anything in the schoolyard because there's always someone with an answer, and there's nothing you can do but punch them in the nose. And if you were to punch everyone who has an answer, you'd be punching morning, noon and night. Quigley takes the bit of peel from Fintan. Thanks, Fintan. The whole class is looking at Clossy because he's the biggest and toughest, and if he says thanks, I'll say thanks. He says, thanks very much, Fintan, and blushes. And I say, thanks very much, Fintan. And I try to stop myself from blushing, but I can't, and all the boys sneer again, and I'd like to hit them. After school, the boys call to Fintan. Hi, Fintan, are you going home to curl your gorgeous hair? Fintan smiles and climbs the steps of the schoolyard. A big boy from 7th class says to Paddy Clossy, I suppose you'd be curling your hair too if you wasn't a baldy with a shaved head. Paddy says, shut up. And the boy says, and who's going to make me? Paddy tries to punch, but the big boy hits his nose and knocks him down and there's blood. I try to hit the big boy, but he grabs me by the throat and bangs my head against the wall till I see lights and black dots. Paddy walks away holding his nose and crying, and the big boy pushes me after him. Fintan is outside on the street, and he says, oh, Francis, Francis. Oh, Patrick, Patrick, what's up? Why are you crying, Patrick? And Paddy says, I'm hungry. I can't find nobody because I'm starving with the hunger and falling down and I'm ashamed of myself. Fintan says, come with me, Patrick. My mother will give us something. And Paddy says, no, me nose is bleeding. Don't worry, she'll put something on your nose or a key on the back of your neck. Francis, you must come too. You always look hungry. No, Fintan. Do, Francis. All right, Fintan. Fintan's flat is like a chapel. There are 2 pictures, the Sacred Heart of Jesus and the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Jesus is showing his heart with the crown of thorns, the fire, the blood. His head is tilted to the left to show his great sorrow. The Virgin Mary is showing her heart, and it would be a pleasant heart if it didn't have that crown of thorns. Her head is tilted to the right to show her sorrow because she knows her son will come to a sad end. There's a picture on another wall of a man with a brown robe and birds sitting all over him. Fintan says, do you know who that is, Francis? No, that's your patron, St. Francis of Assisi. And do you know what today is? The 4th of October. That's right, and it's his feast day and special to you because you can ask St. Francis for anything and he'll surely give it to you. That's why I wanted you to come here today. Sit down, Patrick. Sit down, Francis. Mrs. Slattery comes in with her rosary beads in her hand. She's happy to meet Fintan's new friends and would we like a cheese sandwich. And look at your poor nose, Patrick. She touches his nose with the cross on her rosary beads and says a little prayer. She tells us these rosary beads were blessed by the Pope himself and would stop the flow of a river if requested, never mind Patrick's poor nose. Fintan says he won't have a sandwich because he's fasting and praying for the boy who hit Paddy and me. Mrs. Slattery gives him a kiss on the head and tells him he's a saint out of heaven and asks if we'd like mustard on our sandwiches. And I tell her I never heard of mustard on cheese and I'd love it. Paddy says, I don't know. I never had a sandwich in my life. And we all laugh. And I wonder how you could live 10 years like Paddy and never have a sandwich. Paddy laughs too, and you can see his teeth are white and black and green. We eat the sandwich and drink tea, and Paddy wants to know where the lavatory is. Fintan takes him through the bedroom to the backyard, and that's when they come back. Paddy says, I have to go home. Me mother will kill me. I'll wait for you outside, Frankie. Now I have to go to the lavatory, and Fintan leads me to the backyard. He says, I have to go too, and when I unbutton my fly, I can't pee, because he's looking at me. And he says, you were fooling. You don't have to go at all. I like to look at you, Francis, that's all. I wouldn't want to commit any class of a sin with our confirmation coming next year. Yeah, he's watching him pee. What a freak. Okay, that's why I told you. Fintan is weird. Paddy and I leave together and burst in and run behind the garage to pee. Paddy's waiting for me, and as we walk along Hurstdunch Street, he says, "That was a powerful sandwich, Frankie. And him and his mother is very holy, but I won't want to go to Fintan's flat anymore because he's very odd, isn't he, Frankie?" He is, Paddy. The way he looks at it when you take it out, that's odd, isn't it, Frankie? 'Tis, Paddy. A few days later, Paddy whispers, "Fintan Slattery said we could come to his flat at lunchtime. His mother won't be there, and she leaves lunch for him. He might give us some too, and he has lovely milk. Will we go?" Fintan sits 2 rows from us. He knows that Paddy is saying to me, and he moves his eyebrows up and down as if to say, "Will you come?" I whisper yes to Paddy, and he nods to Fintan, and the master barks at us to stop waggling our eyebrows and our lips, or the ash plant will sing across our backsides. Now, why would they go there after that little incident? Huh?
Because you're gonna eat food.
Yeah, they're hungry. They're that hungry. Boys in the schoolyard see the 3 of us walk out, and they pass remarks. "Oh, God, look at Fintan and his Engels." Paddy says, "Fintan, what's an Engel?" And Fintan says, "It's just a boy from olden times who sits in a corner, that's all." He tells us to sit at the table in his kitchen, and we can read his comic books if we like, Film Fun, the Beano, the Dandy, or the religious magazines, or his mother's romance magazines, The Miracle and the Oracle, which always have stories about factory girls who are poor but beautiful, in love with sons of earls and vice versa. And a factory girl ends up throwing herself into the Thames with the helplessness, only to be rescued by a passing carpenter, who is poor but honest and will love the factory girl for her own humble self, though it turns out the passing carpenter is really the son of a duke, which is much higher than an earl, so that now the poor factory girl is a duchess and can look down her nose at the earl who spurned her because she's happy tending her roses on her 12,000-acre estate in Shropshire and being kind to her poor old mother who refuses to leave her humble little cottage for all the money in the world. Paddy says, "I don't want to read nothing, it's all a cod, all them stories." Fintan removes the cloth covering his sandwich and glass of milk. The milk looks creamy and cool and delicious, and the sandwich bread is almost as white. Paddy says, "Is that a ham sandwich?" And Fintan says, "'Tis, Paddy." Paddy says, that's a lovely looking sandwich, and is there mustard on it?" Fintan nods and slices the sandwich in 2. Mustard seeps out. He licks it off his fingers and takes a nice mouthful of milk. He cuts the sandwich again into quarters, 8ths, 16ths, takes the little messenger of the Sacred Heart from the pile of magazines and reads while he eats his sandwich bits and drinks his milk. And Paddy and I look at him, and I know Paddy is wondering what we're doing here at all. At all, because that's what I'm wondering myself, hoping Fintan will pass over the plate to us, but he doesn't. He finishes the milk, leaves bits of sandwich on the plate, covers it with the cloth and wipes his lips in his dainty way, lowers his head, blesses himself and says grace after meals and "God, we'll be late for school," and blesses himself again on the way out with holy water from the little china font hanging by the door with a little image of the Virgin Mary showing her heart and pointing at it with 2 fingers as if we couldn't make it out for ourselves. It's too late for Paddy and me to run and get the bun and milk from Nellie Ahern, and I don't know how I'm going to last from now till I can run home after school and get a piece of bread. Paddy stops at the school gate. He says, "I can't go in there starving with the hunger. I'd fall asleep and Daddy'll kill me." Fintan is anxious. Come on, we'll be late. Come on, Francis, hurry up." "I'm not going in, Fintan. You had your lunch. We had nothing." Paddy explodes. "You're a feckin' canker, Fintan. That's what you are, and a feckin' begrudger too, with your feckin' sandwich and your feckin' Sacred Heart of Jesus on the wall and your feckin' holy water. You can kiss my arse, Fintan." Oh, Patrick, my feckin' arse, Fintan. Come on, Frankie." Fintan runs into school, and Paddy and I make our way out to an orchard in Ballinacura. We climb a wall, and a fierce dog comes at us till Paddy talks to him. What time is it? Almost. And tells him he's a good dog and we're hungry and to go home to your mother. And we'll stop there.